welcome to Aha Moments with Christina Brady. If you don't know me, I am the president of Sales Assembly, and I am excited to kick this off today. We have our first guest, Stephanie Middaugh. She is the Senior Sales Enablement Manager of Programs at Zoom. She is also the creator and host of Building Enablement. She is the co-founder and a member of the Enablement Squad, and she comes from years of enablement experience, most recently prior to Zoom at Divi. So first and foremost, Stephanie, welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. I also need you to be like my just like MC in general whenever I'm like being introduced by people. So if we can get that going, that would be great.
Anytime you want me to kick you off, I will be happy to just be like your loudspeaker woman of like, Stephanie is coming. And it's great. But beautiful. So the whole point of this is to talk through an aha moment that you had that led you to being a better version of you. And this can be personally or professionally. So Stephanie, tell us, what was a big aha life-changing moment for you?
It's a really good question. And I've had to think about this kind of like quite a bit. One of the things though that has really like stuck out to me, I was scrolling through like Instagram or Pinterest, one of the two, one of these days, and I saw this quote come up in my feed that basically said, be the woman that you needed as a girl, as a little girl. And it just kind of like just stuck under my skin. And I think about it pretty consistently. And one of the things that I try to do like on a regular basis, and like I've tried to do more, is just share more personal stuff about myself that makes people feel a little bit better. Like, oh, I'm not the only one that would do that. And when you're kind of like, I didn't grow up with like what I would consider professional parents. I grew up with, my mom was a bank teller. My dad was like a security guard and a mechanic. And it was like working kind of jobs like that. And I had no experience in the business world before. And a lot of people come from very similar backgrounds like that. They come into kind of this big SaaS tech business and they're like, what is happening? Where am I? And how do I navigate this and what's going on? So one of the things that I've tried to do is share that voice from like my perspective of like, how do you navigate certain things? Or if you're feeling left out, or if you're feeling in, a certain way or whatever, you're not alone. Like, you're not the only one that's feeling like that. And early on in my career, that would have meant so much to me because I was always stressed out about, what am I doing things right? Like, am I following the right path? Am I going to end up in the right place? Am I meeting the right people? Am I doing the right things? And when you're early on in your career, you can get really caught up in that kind of stuff. And it would have been really helpful for me to hear somebody like this that's personable and kind of like approachable. And that's what I try to be for other people, no matter like where they are, in their career or whatever, personal life, etc. I want to make that relatable to folks and let them know that you're not alone if you're feeling like certain ways. Because I know that would have helped me when I was younger. And I mean, even now, like I still have those same thoughts, and hearing people say like, oh yeah, like imposter syndrome is like a thing. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Like it's not just me.
Right. So I think what I love about it is your aha moment came from simply seeing this quote and then thinking back in your life personally and professionally, how much you would have wanted that. Can you think back to any moment where you had somebody in your life who was honest with you like that and sort of rolled out the red carpet of humanity? Or do you feel like that's continued to be lacking in your life, that you don't see a lot of people who are open about themselves and honest?
I think when I think back on my, albeit short, professional career, I have been really lucky with the managers, like early on in my career, the managers that I had. I had really strong female leaders as it was, which was really inspiring for me to see that, like, even when I enter the workforce, the professional workforce at 22, 23, however old I was, it's like, I can do that. Like, she's done that. Like, I can do that. That's okay. So having those like strong female leaders, like right from the get-go, was so incredibly impactful. But one of the things that like I didn't necessarily get was the work-life balance piece of things. Like, I didn't see like, how do you manage all of this? Like, how do you manage the expectations of being a woman in technology, and how do you manage just being an employee in technology? Like, how do you set boundaries? How do you not get so invested with your work and your company so that when things kind of fall apart, your entire world around you crumbles? I remember there was a moment when I was at a company and I was working for a phenomenal leader, and she decided to leave, to switch companies. And I had tied so much of myself professionally and personally into this job and this leader and like the company as a whole. When she left, I was devastated. It felt like my entire world was just like kind of crumbling around me. And it's not a bad thing to be invested in your work and your company and like what you're doing, but I realize that I do need to kind of build a little bit of a wall so that like I can be a professional woman, but when I go home, I can also switch that off and I don't kind of like carry all of that stress and weight back and forth. Um, and it's helped me kind of like throughout my career is realize that like, okay, when I'm looking at a job, I want to make sure that like they're going to try and get everything that they can out of me as an employee, not in a bad way, like in a good way, hopefully. And I want to make sure that as an employee, I'm also getting as much out of the company and my leaders as I can too, because I need to grow professionally. And I think that's something that I've learned from past leaders, and I'm continuing to learn from existing leaders too, is how do you strike that balance between making sure that you are growing professionally while still maintaining your own identity as a person, as a human being. And I don't have kids, so I don't have kind of that separate life to like click on to like mom mode or whatever. So I can very easily tie myself up into like my entire life is my professional life, and it can get kind of crazy at times. But it's important to realize what those boundaries are and to set those early. And one of the things that I've been trying to talk through with like other folks too is like, how do you set those boundaries? You can't rely on a company or a leader to do them for you. You kind of have to do it yourself. What does that look like? What do those conversations tend to kind of be and sound like? So really getting into like the nitty gritty of things is my way of like helping to give back to other people who maybe just don't have that experience just yet.
And I love that the aha moment there is that you can be your best self professionally by acknowledging that you are multifaceted and you come with all of your experiences and not being afraid to show that and to share that. And I do think that something like that starts with leadership, leading by example and showing that it's okay to share, and it's
Mhm.
okay to break those walls down a little bit, but then also encouraging people to really have a good work-life balance and have a good separation and welcoming that multifaceted nature. So I
Yeah.
think like that is a tip to take, that if you are a leader or if you are an individual contributor, if you are aspiring toward any other career path, to know that you are multifaceted. Your experiences are a part of you and you should bring them with you. They are not baggage. In fact, I often say take your baggage and turn it into stairs, right? Like bring it with
I
you, but
love
like pile it
that.
up and climb on up. Like use it as a part of it. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, I love your aha moment. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes with us to share. I want to also give a shout out and a thank you to Sales Hacker for partnering with us on this initiative to bring little moments of brilliance and aha moments to all of you out there. So, Stephanie, thanks for taking the time. Everyone else, see you next time.